Wait for host to start this meeting. The meeting is started.
Yes, I've started the meeting. This session, we are going to record the session so that we can also share it on our YouTube channel. So then whoever didn't make it into this training can also get access to these resources later on. So we'll be recording the entire session. Okay, so just to get us started, we are going to start our training. As I said when we began, this is KenyaEMR training, and here we are focusing. We are focusing on the partners that are participating in the first phase of the migration. We believe that maybe some of you have had previous experiences with KenyaEMR, especially the partners that are supporting both systems, both IQK and KenyaEMR. So we are going to take you through the navigation. So this is nothing technical, it's purely navigation on how to use the new platform, even as you plan to cross over, as you plan to migrate. So we would have had some remarks from some of our leadership team, but I'm being informed that they'll join in a bit late. So we might give them a chance towards the tail end, just to kind of make some remarks during this particular training. Okay, so just to begin, I think we are going to talk about KenyaEMR. For the people who are very new in KenyaEMR, you might be wondering, what is this all about? So KenyaEMR is just Kenya Electronic Medical Record System. In full, it is KenyaEMR, and it is used for to provide service delivery to our patients, especially the patients who are receiving the HIV support. So it is mostly used in the CCC clinics within the facility. So KenyaEMR is it is a distribution of OpenMRS. For those of you who have heard about OpenMRS, so this is a distribution of OpenMRS, and it has just been redesigned to suit our local use case for the country, for our country, Kenya. So that's why it has been given the new name KenyaEMR. So I'll just share with you my screen, then I show you around the KenyaEMR before our team start showing you what to do when the patient comes to your facility, all the way to what you do when you are exiting a patient from care. So I'd shared out a schedule, the training schedule. So today we're only going to cover some aspect of KenyaEMR. So we are going to look at the navigation, how to search and exit a patient, the patient registration, client enrollment into HIV, how to fill a green card, and how to do lab orders, and how to do the pharmacy prescriptions, the drug prescriptions. So that is what we are going to cover today. After that, I think we are going to have another session tomorrow and Friday, and we are going to take you through the other aspect of the system. So allow me to share my screen so then I can just give you an overview of what KenyaEMR is and how it looks like. So I want to believe that you're able to see my screen. That is how KenyaEMR looks like for the people who are new to this. So what you need to do for you to gain access to KenyaEMR at your facility, the first thing you will need is to have the right credentials to allow you to log into KenyaEMR. So credentials will be provided for you at the facility or by the person who is coming at the facility to do the migration. They'll be setting up KenyaEMR, and at the end of the day, give all the users the right credentials depending on their role at the facility. And then using the credentials, you'll be able to log in and operate KenyaEMR. So the first thing is to log in. So I'll just log in with my username and password. Could someone confirm if you are able to see the screen?
It's clear.
Yes.
Yes, we can. We can see the screen.
Thank you. Okay, so once you log into KenyaEMR, the first screen that you see is called the facility dashboard. So this kind of gives you the summary, how your facility is performing depending on various indicators that are displayed on the screen. So at a glance, you'll be able to see the indicators related to care and treatment. You'll be able to see indicators that are related to HTS. You'll be able to see indicators for appointments and differentiated care right there at the dashboard. So you can click different tabs. So for instance, if you are looking at the appointments, you are able to see how many people have been scheduled today, how many have been checked in, the number that is being seen, and the number that are having a scheduled visit for that particular day. So you can get that information right from the homepage, from the dashboard. So then you can also plan your day and plan your schedules accordingly, depending on the workload and the number of providers that are available. So after the dashboard, you can click home. So home takes you to the home screen for KenyaEMR, and it exposes you to different modules that you may use. So for instance, you can see on the screen, we have the tab for different departments within the facility. So we have the tab for people who are responsible for client registration. We have a tab for the people who are responsible for triage. We have the tab for the people who are responsible for HIV testing and counseling. Then we have the tab for the clinical team that they can use to see a client. Then we have all these other tabs. As you can see, we have the drug prescription, we have the prep, there is lab request for making the lab orders. Then we have for default tracing, you have the patient tracing tab. Then you also have a chart where you can now visualize the summaries about a particular client and how they perform in care, which drug they are on, and how many visits they've had, and all the kind of stuff that you want to know about your patient. So we'll see that when we are going to delve deeper into the system. Then we have the tab for reports. This kind of exposes you to all the reports that are available. As you can see, if I may click on it, you'll be able to see all the reports that are available in KenyaEMR. And these are standard reports. So these are what we call them the standard reports for KenyaEMR. But should you need to have any other report that is way beyond the scope of this, then there is another tool, another dedicated reporting tool, which is called the KenyaEMR data tool. So we'll also be showing you that, I think, on Friday or tomorrow, just to show you how you can report, how you can generate your ad hoc reports. Okay. Then you can always go to the facility dashboard by just clicking the facility dashboard icon. Then the other tab is Etl Admin. So Etl Admin, the easiest way to put it is that in KenyaEMR we have two sections. There is the section of the system that keeps the record that it keeps the data that you key in on a daily basis. Then there is the other side of it that kind of keeps the reports that you need to run. So the ETL tab is giving you an opportunity to kind of refresh your reporting section. So you can always refresh that section before you run your report so that you are sure that all the reports you're going to run are up to date. So that is why we need that. So you can always run it before you run any report. You just refresh the ETL and then you run your report. So your report will be more accurate that way. Then we have the tabs for data quality and also data management. For instance, under data management, there are a lot of functionalities, but one that maybe I want to point out is the merge patient records. This one will help you to kind of merge duplicates. If you identify any within your facility, you can use that functionality to merge your patients. It's a robust functionality, and when we delve deeper, you'll be able to see how it works. Then the directory, this is kind of showing you how many users are there in the system and how many are logged in. So for instance, I can tell from here that super user is logged in and I can't see anybody else. So means it's only me who has logged in. And I will encourage you also out there to kind of just log into the system and also have a feel. Then we have another one for facilities. This kind of lists out all the facilities in the country. So any facility that you can think of within the country is here. And what this will help you with is that, for instance, if you want to, if you have a patient who has been transferred in from a different facility that you're not familiar with, you can always create the unique patient number of that facility, of this patient from that facility, just by finding the right MFL code for that facility, and then adding that to the serial number for that patient, and you create your unique patient number. Because I think we all know that you don't need to assign new IDs for the TIs. So I think that one we all know. So that will help you. Just search for a facility. If it is in Nyeri, you just search for that facility, and then you'll be able to get the right MFL code. That can help you to either contact the facility or create your unique patient number. Okay. The last one is admin. This is just for administration purposes. You want to create a new user, you want to suspend an active user, you want to manage reports, you want to cancel some active reports, you'll find them under the admin. The last icon, written developer, you don't need that, and I'm not very sure if you'll be able to access it. You don't need actually to use that particular icon. So at that point, I think I'll leave it at that. That is kind of just to familiarize you with the new platform. So at that point, I think I'll engage the next presenter now to just take us through how we manage patients using this particular system. So for you to log in, we have created a generic username and password. Let me just display that, so then you can also log in. So then as the trainers take you through the different parts of the system, you can also do the same yourself. Okay, so I'll just share my screen in a moment. So once you get the right URL, you'll be able to log in using the test user. So the username is test user, is one word, capital T. The password is test1234, capital T. So you can try that and see whether you're able to log in. Then we'll request the participants who are having their videos on to just kind of pull down the video because it is taking a lot of bandwidth. For the new participants who have just logged in, we had requested for self-introduction in the text area. Just tell us your name, your designation, and the partner you work for. So I want to believe that at this point, you're able to log into the system. So then I can pass the back to the next presenter to take you through the next session. All right, so I don't know if Kezia is online already.
Yes, I am.
You may want to take it away.
All right. Thank you very much for that overview. I believe that everyone now has logged in to the system using the credentials given, because I will take it up from there. I'm just sharing my screen. Kindly confirm if you can see my screen.
We can
Can
see.
you? It's clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you and welcome all of you to this session. I will be taking you through some of the listed actions for today. So as Otieno has shown you, the first thing that comes up is the facility dashboard. And all you need to do to access is just to click on the home. You click on home to access all the other icons. Okay. Once you're at home, now it depends on what services you want to give to your client. But assuming we are receiving our first client and we want to register them in the system, so the best icon to use is the registration app. So just click on the registration app and you have an option or the section where you can find or create patient. It's advised that you first search the client before you create. This will help us in avoiding duplicates in the system. So first thing, click on this button, find or create patient, and type in the client name here. So if your client name is Jane, you just type in the name and it appears on the right for matching patients. So if we have any client who matches the name you have typed in, then they will all appear on the right and you will select them. Just confirm if the details are the same. If they are the same, then you just highlight select the client. If they are not, that is when you proceed to create a new patient. This is very key to avoid duplicates. Remember, we are receiving clients from different sections, from HTS and other service points. So just to make sure that the client does not exist in the system, always use the search button to first check if they exist or not. Once you confirm that they do not exist in the system, down here we have an icon for create new patient. Just click on that, create new patient, and you'll get new tabs, one for register a new patient, and the other one register existing user to patient. There is a description for each, whereby for the new client, this is a client who is coming for the first time in the facility, and we have searched and found that they do not exist in the system. For the register existing user to a patient, this will apply for maybe a staff in the facility who already has an account in the system and now is coming to access services in the facility. Registering existing user to patient, it will apply to a staff who has an account in the facility and is now coming as a client to access services in the facility. So you will find that for all our clients, this is the app that we will use. The button we will use is for register new patient. So you can emphasize to the users that they shouldn't use the other button because they will register themselves as clients if they are not accessing services. When you are registering the patient, this is the form. It's a generic one. It will apply for all the programs that exist in KenyaEMR, even if the client is coming for MCH, if they are coming for, if it is a Hay client, if it is HTS, this is the first form that you will fill. Hello, someone. Okay, thank you. So as I was saying, this form will apply across all the programs that are in KenyaEMR and will be used across everyone who is coming in for the first time in the facility. So the first thing you do is to give the patient clinic number. This is supposed to be the entry point number. So if this client came in from the outpatient, this could be the outpatient number, ANC number, HGS number, or any other number. But where this number is not available, you'll find that most of the patient, the users will use a unique number as the patient clinic number. So where we have that, just input it. So this is not limited. You can use either 2 numbers, 3 numbers, depending on where the client is coming from. If the national ID number for the client is available, then you key in. If it is not there, that is not a mandatory field, so you can just keep it. Then we go to the demographic section. This is where we key in the patient name. So I'm just going to use my name. I will register myself as a client here. Yeah, the first name, and I can just give the other name as an initial. Kindly note that the surname and first name are mandatory field. They are marked with an asterisk. So wherever you'll find a field marked with an asterisk, it means that that is a mandatory field and you won't be able to save the form before you fill in that field. Sex of the client, select female or male. On the date of birth, you can use from age. So if you know the client age, if it is the client is 30 years old and they do not know their age, just key in 30 on that button and then submit. The system will auto-calculate or estimate the date of birth. If the client knows the exact date they were born, just use the calendar and pick in their date of birth, starting with the year, then with the month, and then pick the day. And now this will be exact and not estimated. Note also we have an asterisk on sex and date of birth, so those are mandatory fields. On marital status, click on the drop down and select the one that applies. On the occupation, again, select the one that applies. Same to education level, pick that apply, the one that applies. These are not mandatory fields, so if the information is not there, you can skip, but it is advised that you collect as much information as you can about the patient. This other section, there is a deceased. This will only apply when the client is deceased. So for now, it remains as it is with a no. So you will only fill it when the client unfortunately dies. So that is when you will select yes and give date of birth or of death. On the address section, you input the telephone contact of the patient. This again is validated. It has to be the actual numbers. If there is an alternate phone number, you give that, but it is not mandatory. If there is a postal address, again, give that. And the email address, if it is there, just capture that in that field. When we come to the county, we have a drop down. Just pick the county where the client comes from. Type in the sub-county. Type in the sub-county where the client comes from. Allow me to change this. I don't know the sub-counties in Kirinyaga. So we can pick this as Kandara sub-county. If you know the client knows the word, type in there. So for these other fields, you will fill in there. You will just type in. But for the county, we have a drop down. So fill in all the details that are available. Fill in the landmark, the nearest health center. Yeah, just as much details as you can, as the client provides. Remember, this is what you will use for your default tracing, just in case the client is not available for the appointments. Next of kin details, you type in the name of the next of kin, that is if the client is willing to provide this information. So if they are, just type in here, Joseph. From the drop down, select the relationship between the client and the next of kin. Provide the number if it is given, and then the postal address if it is there. Once you have completed the form and you have confirmed that all the fields are filled correctly, then you click on create patient. And with that, now our client is available in the system and we are ready to receive any other services. Okay, so should we, Otieno, maybe you can guide us, should we pick any questions or we just proceed and then get them later, or they can be posted on the chat?
I think we can just, to save time, let's just post our questions in the chat area, then we can respond to them there. So then at the end of the day, when we are, before we conclude, we can see which ones require verbal response, then we can respond to them as well. So I think at this point, just continue.
Thank you. So once you have registered your client, on the left-hand side of the patient page, there is this section called information, and there is an edit button here. So if the details change in any way, maybe the client relocates or they change their numbers, you just come to this button, click on that, and now you are able to edit any details that have changed for the client, and you can save your changes. So I think that is it about registration. And I would like to proceed to the next section, which is about enrolling a client to a service or to a program. So in this case, we are looking at a client who is coming to access HIV care and treatment services. And so I will enroll them under HIV and I will click on Enroll button to access the enrollment form. Yeah, here we have the HIV enrollment form, and the enrollment date is captured as today. So this one you should note carefully that if this client is a transfer in, or you're doing retrospective data entry, you will be required to edit this date to capture the exact date when the client was enrolled. Else, the system automatically picks today as the date when the client was enrolled. So suppose our client was enrolled back in January, maybe 6th January 2020. The time the system automatically picks that. The user, it picks automatically, depending on the person who has logged in, the account you used, and also the location will automatically be updated. We coming to the patient source section. Patient type, we can have either a new patient, a transfer in, a re-enrollment, or transit. So if our client is new, meaning they have just been newly tested, you select the new patient. If they are transfer in, select transfer in. Just note what happens when I click on the transfer in. You have a section for filling in the transfer in date. We have the section for the transferred from facility, date first enrolled in HIV care, and the date they started ART at transferring facility. This will only be available for those for transfer in clients. If it is transit, that is the only thing you will be able to see for transit clients. And for re-enrollments, this only applies for a client who was previously discontinued or care ended. So suppose we had a client who was transferred out and they are coming back to access services in this facility. After you have enrolled them back or activated them back, this is the option you will use for those clients. So at the moment, you will see that it's inactive. Entry point, we have all these options, the HBTC, the VCT, and CHIPD. So select the one that applies, and note that again, this is a mandatory field. So it has to be filled. So suppose this client came from VCT site, select that. Unique number, we all know the format, which is the 5 digits for the MFL code and 5 digits for the serial number. So we'd use 10829, and maybe this is client number 03000. So that is a 10-digit number. Remember, again, it's validated. If you put more or less, the system, you will get an issue. You will be alerted on that, and the form won't save until you give the correct number. So we'll see about that as we proceed. On ART history, indicate the date patient was confirmed positive using the calendar. Assuming the client was enrolled the same day they were tested, so we used the same date that we had used, 6th January 2020. If they were tested in this facility, just check this box, this facility. If not, you just type in the facility where they are coming in from. WHO stage, that this is at enrollment, select the one that applies. If the patient has been on ARVs or not, select. If yes, then you'll be needed, this section will be activated. If it is a yes, then you'll be required to fill in either of these. If it is a no, that section again is inactivated and you can't fill in anything on that. On baseline assessment, fill in all that applies. Remember, this is the first time the client is coming in and you may not be having most of the details. So if they are not, you do not have the details on the labs and the like, the fields are again not mandatory. So you can just keep this and can be filled later as the assessments are done. I will opt to skip that for now and capture them in the next forms. Treatment supporter, again, if will use the same next of kin as the treatment supporter. That is, if the client accepts to provide these details at this point. So you fill in there, but it is not mandatory. If the client doesn't provide the details, you can just proceed. And now that brings us to the end of the enrollment form. Just confirm that you have captured all the details and all the mandatory fields and that they are correct. Once you have confirmed that, click on enter form. So you will note that we have an error that please fix all errors and resubmit. This is highlighted here on the unique patient number. Remember, our number should be invalid unique patient number format should be MFL clinic number, each 5 digits for new enrollments. So I had intentionally added an extra number just to see what happens when you do not use the correct format of the UPN. So once that is corrected, just click on enter form. And now we have our client already registered in the system and enrolled in HIV care. And now you are able to, the clinician will be able to proceed and offer the services now using the green card. Same case, to confirm that is saved, you have this section, HIV. We have the edit button again. If there are any edits that you need to do on the form, you just click on the edit button and then save changes here. I mentioned something about clients transferring out or being discontinued. If your client is leaving the facility, maybe for another site, you just click on discontinue and then you will have a form to discontinue for care, and then you give the reasons and where they are going. That is, if it is cure, if it is death, you provide the death dates. We will see that later, but I just wanted you to see that point. So once the client is enrolled, this button turns from enroll to discontinue. So anytime you find that under HIV, you have an enroll button active, it means that client has been discontinued or they are not enrolled into HIV care, meaning that you won't be able to access the green card and you can't offer services on care and treatment. Up to that point, I would like to request the next presenter to take it up from there. Thank you. Ogudru, if you're ready.
Yes, I'm ready. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. Let me just share my screen.
Good, we can hear.
Thank you. Just sharing my screen. Okay, there we are. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you so much. So thank you, Kezia, for the session. And after we are done with the registration and enrollment of our client, then now we move on to clinical services, whereby the clinician will be able to offer other services. So the same patient we are continuing with, and then we'll see how it goes. So we go to home, and then on clinician's tab, there we are. So for you to continue to offer any of the services to this particular client, we'll have to check in this client for this visit. That means that now the client will be able to start getting services in this particular clinic. So you check in the client, you specify. If in case this one was a retro data entry, then you want to specify. You might want to change the date to conform with what is in the file. So being that this client was enrolled today and we want to continue offering the services, then we'll just submit the same. So when you check in this particular client, then you'll be able to access the different forms that are available for this particular client to be filled by the clinician. And as always, when after the enrollment, we have to do triage to help the clinician make a decision in terms of sorting out the clients. Okay, so we'll go straight ahead to do triage this client and see what the client presents with that will enable the clinician make the next decision. So you'll want the date is specified there, and then we have the reason for the visit. So that one is a free text whereby the clinician will be able to type reason for the visit. You can have can have a reason at start HIV care as the reason for the HIV care as the reason for the visit. The vital signs will be taken. I hope we know the ranges for different group category of clients, the kids and adults. These are adults, and the range would be between 3.36.1 or 37.2. So we'll have the normal one at 36 that the client presents with. Being that the client is asymptomatic, we have the pulse rate. We need to know the ranges for the pulse rate, either between 60 and 100 beats for the adults. Can have it at 70. And then the blood pressure. So we have the systolic or diastolic. We can have the systolic at 120 and 80 is within range, I suppose. We have the respiratory rate, the heartbeat, have the ranges between 12 to 16, have it at 14. The oxygen saturation, if any case the facility is able to offer that, the saturation depends. If you have that, if you don't have, then it's not a mandatory field. And then the other recordings in terms of weight, this client would be weighing 70, height would be around 140 centimeters, and then you'd have BMI auto-calculated there. The LMP for the client is a female, 7, within reproductive age, and have it filled depending on information from the client. Have it last month, May on 20th. And then we are done. Enter the form, we're done. So we are done with that. After triage, there are other forms. As you can see, there are several forms here, and just to mention a few, we have the clinical encounter, TB screening. We have those particular forms are mostly used for clients who are not co-infected, like the TB clients and the MCH clients. So you can use those ones for those particular clients, that the TB screening, clinical encounter, because the information they contain are already available in the green card and the forms. That is just for you to note. So we can go ahead and assess the GBV. We screen the client as a clinician. There are around 5 questions that you might want to ask and get response from the client, and have them within the past year, have you been hit, slapped, kicked, or physically hurt by someone in any way? So in any case, the response, depending on the response that you get, you will check. Are you in a relationship with a person who physically hits you? Are you in a relationship with a person who threatens, or insults you, or treats you badly? Are you in a relationship with a person who forces you to participate in sexual activities that make you feel uncomfortable? No. Have you ever experienced any of the above with someone you do not have a relationship with? No. So we are done with the GBV screening, then we enter the form. So we are done. So as you can see, we have 3 sections here. We have the details on HIV care. the available forms, and then when you complete any of the available forms, they are moved to completed forms down there. I hope you're able to see that. We are done triage, and now we've done GBV screening. Now we'll go to alcohol and drug abuse screening. So these forms will be available for each and every visit, okay? So the dates it's already there, you'll only change even in case you're doing a retro. There are around 3 questions with several options to check. How often do you have a drink containing alcohol? How often do you smoke? Never. How often do you use drugs? Never. You can check any of the options depending on what the client tells you as you ask the questions. So when you complete that, you will go down there to completed visit forms. And then we have, we can't do the enhanced adherence screening because these are new clients. We can't assess the adherence in terms of how they take drugs, the frequency, and all that. So this one will be done in subsequent visits and will not be eligible to be done now. So we are done with that. Now the last one that we might want to at least assess is the ART preparation. If you check on the HIV, on your left side of the screen, we have the HIV ART preparation from there. Are you able to see?
Yes.
Very
Yes,
good.
I can see. I can see.
Okay. Now let's assess for the preparation of the client to take the ARVs. So we have the 2 sections. We have the psychosocial and knowledge criteria. These are applied, it applies to patients and also caregivers. In any case, these are accompanied by caregiver. So, and we also have the support systems that applies to patients and also the caregivers. So we'll just quickly go through these. The client understanding nature of HIV infection and benefits of ART. I suppose yes, because this is the work of the clinician to explain all these, the importance and why the client is being enrolled in HIV and also initiated on ART. As client is screened negative for alcohol and other drug abuse and disorder, I think this one is done. Yes. As screened negative for depression or other psychiatric illness or is stable in treatment. Yes. Willing to disclose, as disclosed HIV status, ideally to a family member or a close friend. Depending on the answer that you get, you will check the appropriate one. Has received demonstration of how to take or administer ART and other prescribed medication. Has received information on predictable side effects of ART and understand what steps to take in case of these side effects. Yes, for patients dependent on a caregiver. Caregiver is committed to long-term support of the patient, daily administration. This one doesn't have, so it doesn't apply. Other likely barriers have been identified and there is a plan in place to address them. Frequent of travel for work, plan to deal with unexpected travel, distance from the clinic, this one has been addressed by the clinician. Patient or caregiver has provided accurate located information, which is very important. And then we have, if the client is ready, we start the ARVs, and we go to the next section where we have a client has identified convenient time when the client will be taking drugs. Treatment support has been identified to support the client in taking drugs, and also support groups that are available that the client can also join. The SMS reminder, if you have it in the facility, reminder system also. The client has been enrolled in that, and then other support systems in place. the billboards and alarm. So when we are done with that, we just click enter, and then we'll be done with that form. So now that we're done with those other clinical encounter forms, then now we'll go to HIV green card, which is our main form for capturing information for the client. So you just click on the HIV green card, and then we see how it goes. So when you open the HIV green card, as you can see, it has got around 4 tabs: the visit details, we have history, examination, and management. So we finish one. As we move to the next, we have the date, just verify it's the correct one, and then the visit type. This is the first time the client is being enrolled. The client has to be there in person for enrollment. The client, that one we're done with. Vital signs. This one is pre-filled because we had already captured this in triad, so it's being updated here automatically. So the nutritional status also will be calculated depending on the vitals that you took. So as you can see, the client is overweight or obese. The population type. Whether the client is a general population or key population. If it's key population, then you will select the appropriate one. So these are general population client, and then the stage had been done previously during enrollment. So we move to next, where we have the history. So the field for clinical notes has been done already, and then we go to TB screening. We want to screen the client for TB, and that is why we didn't update the TB screening form previously, because it's already existing within Green Card. Patient on anti-TB drugs, no. Current on IPT, no. Patient ever on IPT, no. And then when, depending on the options that you check, there are some other more screening questions that will be available for you. If the client has been having cough for any duration, no. Fever, no. Noticeable weight loss or poor weight gain, no. Night sweats, no. TB result status. So there are no signs for TB for this particular client. So we move to the next section for IPT, the client workup. You'll ask the client as a provider, yellow urine, no. Numbness, no. No. So this is a candidate for IPT, depending on the options that you checked, that you got from the feedback you got from the client. So if the client for IPT, you can start the client IPT from this particular point. Just click on Start IPT for initiation. So the indication as to why the client is being initiated on IPT is, we have the 3 options. We have HIV positive in prison child exposed to TB. So we have the HIV positive client as our option, and then we confirm IPT initiation. Are we together up to that point? Any non-allergies client doesn't have, and any illness or comorbidities. So we move to next. That will be patient examination. Oh, there are no complaints. So you have to ensure that all the mandatory fields are filled before you move to next. Adverse drug reactions, none, because the client is just starting today. Sexual and reproductive history. Has the patient ever had menses? Yes. This is the last one. Remember, we filled this one previously. The patient is not pregnant. Wants to get pregnant in 3 months, no. And then we move to family planning status. The option, depending on the client, the client is on family planning, not using family planning, wants family planning. So this client is not using family planning. Not using family planning, you specify the reason as to why things can't get pregnant or any other option. So we are on examination, our third tab, the general findings. Depending on your assessment as a clinician or a provider, you check the appropriate one. If there is none, system treatment plan is normal. Treatment management, if any case the client presents with any issues within the general examination findings, that you want to initiate management for that particular condition the client has presented with. Being that we had none, then we have nothing to update under treatment and management plan. Move to next. Prophylaxis used? None. The new patient has not even been initiated on ART and has not started any. So current regimen, the client has not been initiated on ARVs. And then we go to PHDP services. Has the client been given condoms this visit? Depending on what has happened, either say yes or no, or unknown or not applicable. Screen for substance abuse, yes. Disclosure, no. Received on-site HIV testing for the partner, no. Has the client been screened for cervical cancer? Not done. Has the client been screened for STI? Not done. Stability assessment. Is the patient stable? The patient is a new patient. This patient is not stable. Return visit date. When is the client coming back? Give 1 month, depending on the assessment and any other issues. And then when the date you select as the return visit date as a provider, it will always tell you that on that particular day you've selected, how many clients are already booked for that day. So that one will help you to manage your workload and see whether in any case that day will be loaded, then you'll be able to at least select a different day that apart from that one to help you in managing your workload. So the reason for the next visit, we have follow-up, we have lab test, we have counseling, pharmacy refill, and others. So the client will just come back to follow up, and the differentiated care client will be on standard. So we are done with green card. We just submit the form. Here we are. So we are done. You can see the completed forms, and now we want to initiate this client on ARVs. Under HIV care, you can see down there under regimen, the client has never been on ARVs. On your right side, there's an edit button. Hope everyone is able to see that. When you click on that edit button, then it takes you to the ARV regimen history, whereby you'll be able to start client on ART, and also in case the client was already on ART, you're switching the client. This is a place whereby that one is being done too. So we click on the start, a new regimen button. The start date is today. Remember, also select the right time. This is the thing, this one is midnight. And this client came at around 2. So by the time you start this client on ART, it should be around 3. So it should be around 15. we are going to start this client on a standard regimen, TTF3TC, DTG, and then we save. So as you can see, the client dashboard, it will show you that this client, you can see the yellow flags. There are flags just next to the client name. You have the client name, the gender, and the age. Below, down there are flags. So the flags will always tell you the state of the client. Whether the client is on ART and also on IPT. The client is also eligible on ART. These flags will always come depending on how, or depending on the state of that particular client. Up to that point, we'll just now move to orders. So we have the drug orders and lab orders. So we start with the drug orders. You can access drug orders from the clinician's page, or you can go back home and then access the drug prescriptions and lab requests. It's the one and the same thing, okay? I hope you're together. You can just easily access the drug orders from here. When you click on the drug order under provider actions, it will take you to this page, whereby we have 4 tabs. We have active orders, in any case there are orders that are being done for this particular client. And then we have the standard regimen order. That is the initiation has already been pre-populated here, okay? So we have other orders, in any case they are not standard regimen orders. You can do other orders such as the CTX and any other drug that is prescribed to a client. And then this one will show you past orders that have ever been done to a client. So under standard regimen order that we already have, we just do a refill for this particular client because this one had already been done. So when you click on the refill tab, it will give you other fields to complete. The date is today, okay? You can see that the regimen has already been updated for you. So you only fill the dosage, units, frequency, quantity, and also the units. So those. Are we together up to that point?
Yes, so go to.
Very good. So the dosage. The dosage will depend whether a client will be given 1 tab, 2 tabs. Are we together? So for TDF, the dose is 1. The unit is tablet. The frequency, you will select the options that we have there, depending on how you have already deliberated with the client, where we have once daily in the evening or in the morning, twice daily, depending on how you've agreed with the client. At bedtime, once daily or thrice daily. So you select the appropriate one. So this one will be once daily at bedtime. The quantity that is going to be prescribed for this particular client, the quantity that the client has been given. Can talk about the number of tablets this particular client has been given. Client can be given tablets, 30 tablets. If the client is taking 1 daily, then that would amount to 30 days for the client. So you can, depending on the quantity that you prescribe for the client, that is what will be prescribed. We can talk about tablets. We talk about 30, the number of. So we go to the next one, that is PTC. We have dosage 1 still. Are we together? Tablet. At the same time, the client will be taking these drugs even for the number of days. So this one is not standard depending on how the prescription has been done. Tablet once daily at bedtime. For the quantity prescribed is 30 tablet. Any instruction that you might want to give the client can be typed under free text area, and then you order this particular regimen. So you will see that success message that the drug order has been done successfully. So under active orders, the order that you've already done will come under active orders. So what you want to do is to dispense this particular drug to the client, because this order goes directly to the pharmacy. For those who have IL that is linked to pharmacy, this order will go directly to the pharmacy, where the pharmacist will be able to dispense this particular drug. So when you click on dispense, the drug goes to the pharmacy, and if it is a one-stop shop, then the clinician will prescribe the drug that has been prescribed will issue the drug that have been prescribed for the client. So when you look at the past drug orders, you will see that the drug order that you've done today is already in the list. So all the orders that you'll be doing for this particular client will be listed here. So this would help the clinician just to see the progress on how the client is doing, and how if any case there are even changes, they'll be able to see from here under past drug orders. We are done with the ARV. So we have other drugs like the CTX, which is not under the standard regimen order tab. So those ones are dispensed under other drug orders. So the date is today still, and then under a new order, you type, when you start typing the name of the drug, then you'll have a list where you'll be able to choose from the appropriate one. So we are going to prescribe CTX. Okay, when I just type CTX, then I have options. So depending on what I prescribe for the client, I'll be able to choose from the dosage, the units. Units is milligram. So we have the units we are going to issue tablets, and the frequency is once or twice a day, depending. When you just type one, then it will be there. And then the route. How is the client going to take the drug? How? So this client is going to take it orally. So when you type, you just start typing, the options will be there. So you will select the appropriate one. For how long is this client going to take the drugs? So if this client is going to take this for 30 days, and the units, it is number, this one is days. Are we together? So the client is going to take this one tablet a day orally for 30 days. So the quantity that is being dispensed, that is like an order we've done up there. Now, what we are going to dispense should be equivalent to the number of days. So the quantity should be 30 tablets. We are done with our CTX drug order, and then we just add it. It will tell you that this drug order is unsaved. So you can either discard it or you can sign and save it, meaning that you have done what? You have prescribed that particular drug to the client. So it will come under active drug orders. We just dispense the way we dispense the ARVs. If in any case you want to discontinue, you will have the reasons there, but we are prescribing, we are not discontinuing the client with this particular drug. So we just sign and save. Very good. So when you go to past orders, you will see CTX also updated in the list. That is all when it comes to drug orders. Let's move quickly to lab orders. The same, we have 4 tabs. Under lab orders, we have the active orders. You can create a new order. You can enter results for the orders that you've already created, and it can also show you the previous lab orders that have been done. Okay, so we don't have any active for this particular client, but we want to take a baseline order for viral load, just to help during the next visit, see how best the patient can be managed. So we have several links. We have blood, we have stool, urine, histology, cytology, and sputum. So viral load is in the category of blood. So when you click on blood, there's another tab that will be displayed where we have several options, and we only want to do this for HIV monitoring. As you can see, we have several of them. But we're going to click on the HIV monitoring, and then it will give you a list of tests that can be done for HIV monitoring. You want to do a viral load, you check the viral load, and on your left side, you will see the selected order. If you look at it clearly, it has got a date picker, meaning that you can specify the date this order is being done, and the reason why you are taking this particular order under urgency or reason that is next to it. I hope all of us are following. So we'll select the date, because it's always good to know when are you ordering for a test, just for follow-up purposes by the clinician. So we are ordering this today, we save it, and then the urgency, what is the reason why we are ordering this particular test? Can be routine, can be immediately, depending on your setup, and the reason. This one is a baseline. If you have any other reason why you're taking any test, then you will specify under reason other. We'll save this, and then we confirm that this one is the test that we have ordered. Confirm orders. So it will tell you the order date, it will tell you the name of the test order, the reason, the order agency, and the actions that you can always change from here. If in case you never did that previously, you can always give the date, and also you can change the date, and also you can give another reason if what you have is not correct. Then you save this. So under active lab orders, you will see that there is that viral load that is already updated in that particular list. So if in any case you have your setup, you can get the result immediately, or when you receive the results from the testing lab, then you can come to enter lab results. So the enter lab results, it will tell you that the active orders that you have that you haven't enter the results will be in that list. So we only have one because that is what we have ordered, and the date that when it was ordered. If the client is having LDL, you simply check the LDL checkbox, and then the other free text will be great. And if any case it's an absolute number, you can always key in that absolute number. Okay, so for my client is having LDL, and then we enter when did you receive the results. So this one will help you to calculate your turnaround time, and also help you inform any other person who is interested in that particular result. Okay, we enter today's date. We have received our results today, and then we save. There we are. So if you go to previous lab orders, you will see it's already there and the result. So all the orders that will be done for this particular client, we'll always find them under previous lab orders, all of them. That is all on lab orders. And up to that point, I think I'm done, and I will take it back to Bernard. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Kezia and Guti for the nice presentations. I believe that the participants have been able to follow. So I think we have like 30 more minutes to go. So I think that's very good. At least it will give us some chance to receive questions and maybe respond to them before we go to the next level. So at this point, I think I just want to open the floor. So if you have a question or you want to kind of comment on the presentation or on the tool, just raise up your hand, then I'll be able to unmute you, then you ask the question. So the floor is open. All right, so Somi, you could go first.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Just wanted to know the limit, the minimum limit for the non-suppressed clients.
Would you like to clarify further? Are you referring to the viral load limit for the non-suppressed?
Yes, the viral load.
Okay. Next person, Kenneth, please go next.
I wanted to find out when you're making the drug orders, at that slot where you have to make, where you're making for sulfamethoxazole, if you have, maybe if you've dispensed more than one drug, do you put them in the same order or do you separate them?
Okay, thanks. Someone else? Yes, Kenneth Ochieng?
Enrollment coming from the HTS.
I think
HTS wing.
Excuse me, you are muted, so you may just want to start over again.
Okay. Are you getting me now?
Yes.
My question it would be, I would have appreciate if I could have seen, yes, somebody who has been pushed, or you could have shown us how that one works, so that enrollment longitudinal like approach. Then the next question would be on viral load. I've seen an order put for viral load. Then when you check the checkbox for LDL, the box where you put the value is grayed out. Somebody would ask, or if I'm interested in this LDL value, what is the LDL value for this case? Thank you.
Okay, so I think we can respond to the three questions. I think I'll try and maybe respond to the viral related questions. So what happens is that if I may start with the first person who asked about the viral load, the limits for non-suppressed. This is a clinical question, so I think the clinical guys who are within this particular call can help us with this. I wouldn't be able to say what is the minimum, but the minimum is based on what the standards are out there. The minimum that have been set out by, is it by NASCO? So the system only follows that standard. We don't have our own internal minimums. So for the clinical teams who are here, I think the system just follows what the practice is at the facility. So you can maybe chime in and let us know what the minimums you've been using there. When it comes to the viral load box graying out, this one I think is because viral load itself, when you say LDL, that one in itself is the result. I don't think we have any figure for LDL. So as long as your viral load levels are undetectable, that's the result. So when it is undetectable, we cannot have any value. So that is why we are graying out that box, so that you cannot say someone is having 1,000 copies at the same time they are non-detectable. So it's a contradictory. So that's the reason why it's either it's an LDL or you give a figure, the number of copies of viral load that has been detected in the body. So when it comes to Kenneth's question, I think about having the different orders. So the order, the way it works is that you can pick all your drugs, you can do all your orders in the same screen. So then at the point of signing off on your orders, you'll see a list of all the drugs that you are subscribed, that you are prescribed. So if at all, let's say you had maybe done like 3 or 4 prescriptions, you'll be able to see all of them in one screen. So then you sign off on all of them at once. You don't have to do them on separate screens. So the answer is yes, you can do all your drug orders on a single screen. So I don't know if there is anyone who has to comment on the viral load and the minimum that is being considered suppressed or non-suppressed before we take another bunch of questions.
I think perhaps this is Jacob. I just want to add that the usual limit for suppression is 1,000, like NASCO recommends. What the system will not give you is the low-level viremia. That if it not give you an alert for low-level viremia. So if you require that, that's a different discussion altogether. Over.
Thanks, thanks, Dr. Jacob. Yeah, so I think then we can pick on another bunch of questions. I see.
But maybe just to, sorry, maybe just a note is that when you go to the patient overview, you will find that the LDS have been marked as 50 just to allow the plotting of the graph. Over.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thanks for that, Cecilia, because we strongly recommend that the viral load value be entered into the system, because that's what the system's provide, but KenyaEMR does not create values. So to allow plotting, as Kezia has mentioned, that a figure of 50 is assigned to that particular case. We know that for viral load, they use different machines, and the machines may have different cutoff points for viral load. And for us, it's not in our place to automate that in the system. We simply provide the value that is captured and plot it as 50 over.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jacob. So I think we can pick on another set of questions. So I can see Charles' hand is up. Charles?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation. I hope you can hear me. My question is on DCM. Is there a section for capturing these clients on Express Care, and so that we're able to differentiate when we are pulling the queries, how many clients are enrolled on DCM and basically how they're being managed and whether they have better outcomes as compared to the standard care patients. So I've not seen, I don't know whether I missed it, whether there's a form for assessing patients who are ready to be enrolled into DCM. And then my second question quickly is on queries. Will we get an opportunity to examine the queries that we are able to run? And how flexible given queries, and so that because you understand that HIV, you get data demands that probably are not what we are usually reporting, that are outside the normal reporting requirements. Does it allow for that? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Charles. Anyone else? Any other question? Just raise up your hand and we'll give you an opportunity. Okay, so it's like we don't have, there are no more hands, so maybe we can respond to Charles. So I'll start in responding to Charles. The first question is whether there is an express, there's a form to cater for the DCM clients for the express encounters. So the question is yes. When the clinician is filling the green card, at the point of giving the appointment, the clinician will be able to state whether this is whether this is a stable client, and if it's a stable client, then based on the reason for the appointment, let's say the provider says that the reason for appointment is a DCM, is not standard care. So when this client comes back during the appointment to pick drugs, they should not be able to go to see the provider. What happens is that the moment they are checked into the system, there'll be an express form that will be displayed on the system, and this can be used right at the registration desk, so that once it is completed, the patient proceeds for drug pickup at the pharmacy. They don't have to go and see the clinician. But what happens is that this form is displayed automatically depending on whether the client is stable or not. For stable clients, it will show. If the client is not stable, the form will never show. The system will assume that this is a standard encounter. On the second question is whether the system allows for ad hoc reporting. When we started, I explained, I said the system allows for standard reporting and also for ad hoc reporting. So there is a dedicated tool for those who have been using IQ Care, just like we have IQ tools for IQ Care. In KenyaEMR, there is KenyaEMR data tools as well, which is a separate application, which is used exclusively for running custom queries. So you can write any query, run it in the tool, and you get your data. I don't know if any of our team from Palladium would like to add their voices into the question?
Yeah, thank you, Bernard. I think just to give take a step back, I want to just clarify that the solutions we develop are designed for clinical care and data. So for today's session, we went through mostly the clinical care part of it. So you were taken through the clinical encounter, and what Ken and Kezia took you through was more of the interface we strongly recommend is used by clinicians because it provides support to the clinical workflow, but also allows them to manage appointments along the way. So in the process of managing appointments, as Tino has mentioned, then you'll be able to you'll be given an opportunity to provide differentiated models of care. On the data side, and I believe there'll be another session where you go through the data side, there is the standard report that's usual within KenyaEMR itself, but then there's KenyaEMR data tools that when you're taken through, you will be able to see how to develop those queries and run them within the data tools itself. Yeah, so that's just to add to what Otieno said. Over.
Thanks, Dr. Jacob. So I don't know if there is any hand that is being raised out there that we are not seeing. If so, feel free to ask a question or make your comment.
Yeah, perhaps Otieno, as the hands are coming, because I know they'll come, I just wanted to highlight certain things that I observed during the session. One on the triage. You notice that there were the previous triage information entered were captured in blue fonts in the window that was there. The clinician sometimes may wish to take their own temperature measurements or even weigh the patient again. The system allows the clinician to actually take a second measurement if needed, just to make sure that in some cases where the providers do not have access to, they don't have a triage desk, the clinician can take directly into the system. So the other thing which I just want to again clarify, in the systemic examination, what Ken took you through was of a normal, someone with a normal systemic examination. If you check the abnormal field, then you'll have the system's opening up, and it allows you to basically select the system you want to update that's abnormal, and then the provider will be able to enter the details within those fields. And finally, on the diagnosis again, there is, I think they call it, when you start typing a diagnosis, it should appear in a drop-down. But if I'm not wrong, that's what happens. So that it kind of controls what providers enter in the system and allows you to, when you want to do your analysis, to follow up, to have a more standardized output to generate from the system. I just needed to highlight those three parts of the navigation so that we know that we really tried to make sure that the systems, both IT and KenyaEMR, have similar functionalities. And I believe from your experience in IT care, you may have noticed this is also the same. Over.
Thanks. Thanks for the input, Dr. Jacob. So I can see so many questions piling up in the text area, and our team is also responding to some of them. So I think because of time, I can say it is almost 4. Thinking we might want to just conclude. So then we prepare for tomorrow's session, which will also begin at 2. So today we have looked at KenyaEMR navigation. Tomorrow we are going to look at the PrEP module, OVC, and OTZ module. So log in at exactly 2 p.m. so then we can have that session. So for the questions that are coming in, I guess we will be able to respond to all of them separately after this call, and we'll be sharing out all the responses in an Excel spreadsheet. So just keep on typing your questions or your concerns. We'll be able to respond to them and send you back the responses in due course, just within this week. So I think at this point, I just want to invite Dr. Jacob for final remarks. He would have given us opening remarks, but I guess he delayed elsewhere. So maybe we could just give Dr. Jacob a few minutes for the final remarks. Then after that, I think we'll be closing. Welcome back again, Dr. Jacob.
Yeah, thanks so much, Ken, and apologies, I had to finish another meeting before I joined you. I just want to state that we, over the years, we have been developing KenyaEMR and IQ Care. We've tried to, as much as possible, ensure they have similar functionalities, so that now, as we migrate, we expect very little loss of functionality, and whatever was in IQ Care that you may not find currently in KenyaEMR will be built immediately after we are done with the migration scripting. For this particular series of sessions, I would once again just reiterate that ideally the interface you have seen is meant for clinicians. It can be used by data class for data capture, but there are just within KenyaEMR to allow that better for retrospective data entry. It is very helpful when clinicians use the system because they benefit from the clinical decision support. At this point, I just want to just respond to one question that Emmanuel raised about KenyaEMR's TB screening function. If you notice that the system has decision supports actually, it keeps alerting you as you complete the form, whether the person is eligible for IPT or someone has signs for TB. And what Ken did not take you through is what happens when someone is actually having scores they don't use suspected anymore. They use what term do they use? I seem to be escaping my word. Not TB suspect. It's presumed TB. It will actually expose to you a set of investigative forms that you have to fill for gene expert or for sputum that you can actually be able to populate. And then you will get a alert at the end of it that that person is actually a presumed TB case. So that feature is mostly beneficial to a clinician. If you are using it as retrospective data entry, it will be beneficial, but the clinician will have to rely on the paper notes to see what is happening. So as you transition to KenyaEMR, we hope that the features are going to be helpful to you, but that you can also propose new features that as you do enhancements to the feature can be added to the system. Otherwise, I want to take this opportunity to appreciate your partnership and for you making time to attend this session. We will definitely share the slides both to you and also on YouTube. Otieno will give you information about that, but also the questions asked in the chat box so that you are able to get the answers that we may not have had time in this session to communicate to you. Otherwise, thank you very much and have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Jacob. So just like Dr. Jacob has mentioned, the recordings from this particular session is going to be uploaded on YouTube channel. So our YouTube channel is KenyaEMR. So just launch your YouTube, search for KenyaEMR. You'll be able to get so many resources there that I'm sure will be of interest to you, including the recordings from this call and recordings of all our training sessions from tomorrow and Friday. And remember to subscribe as well. Thank you very much. So I think at this point, let's conclude. Let's again meet tomorrow, same time for the next session. So thank you very much and goodbye.
Thank you.